is
Oh,
Barry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I knew that.
He's mad at me, so he's
I'm
just
mad
skipping
at
over
you.
me.
Yeah. Skipping me. After you-
I tried to panic attack him this afternoon.
The stunt you pulled earlier. I'm not doing your meeting.
Get you and your silly me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
God, thank you.
All right. Are you ready, Miss Lynn?
I am indeed, Mr. Seacrest, Mr. Bowden.
Special Issues Committee meeting for April 29, 2024. Councilor Smith,
Here.
Gear, Allamon, Sims, and Andrews.
Here.
Yeah.
Ooh, we are hanging on to a quorum. Hanging on. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading and approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Ms. Andrews, second from Mr. Sims. All in favor, please say aye.
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 3-0. All right, we have no old business. New business. 1804. Hold on. Which one is yours?
He's the last one.
Okay, you're the very last one. And
Yes,
which one is yours?
Rugby man's 2004.
Okay, you're okay. All right, we'll jump to y'all since y'all are here. All right, so 1904-24 request for consideration of a sign variance at 2600 18th Street South, Roby Man's Automotive Service, Kenny Krakenberger, Wyatt Pugh. I know Mr. Pugh is not here tonight. He sent out the exhibits earlier on. Here we go. You wanna just walk us through what y'all are wanting to do?
Absolutely. So, overall sign dimensions will come down a little bit, but basically we're gonna rebrand. Try to fit in, we're gonna paint the building, duck white and, iron ore on the front, kind of
Okay.
fit in with the Homewood aesthetics.
Okay.
As opposed to the blue automotive stuff. Really wanna fit in more with the cityscape.
Okay.
So basically all we're looking to do is, the signs were last updated 7 years ago, 7 years ago. And what happens is vinyl over time kind of deteriorates and stuff like that, so we're just updating, but every time since we're grandfathered in, we always have to come through a variance side of it, so
Sure.
that's why we're here today. So
Okay, and so obviously I see y'all are painting the awning.
The awning will be painted white, the sides will be painted white, the iron ore, where anything that's brown, will be iron ore colored.
Okay.
Which is a darker color that kind of fits in with iron ore.
Okay.
Yeah, so, that's kind of, and the signs will match, duck white will match the color of the buildings too, so kind of keep that transition to metal.
Okay, and it looks like the first two variances are for additional wall signs because of where y'all are only allowed one. So it looks like one is over, as he said, the porte cochere. And then where's the main sign, the main wall sign?
On the other building, so this is the Toyota store, which is the 2630, so.
Right.
Like I said, we've always been grandfathered in with those three signs, so we're just replacing what we already have on there.
Okay.
The other building is the bigger sign.
Okay, and that's the one that he said is larger than the height limit, right?
Probably, yeah, so.
Oh, okay.
So go back to that. So there are three wall signs. They're only allowed one. The
Right.
three wall signs are here on the front, and then
Okay.
two on the porte cochere on the side.
Oh, on either side?
On either side.
Got it, okay.
And then so that's variance request 1 and 2.
Okay.
Are you on 2600 or 26,000?
I'm sorry, I thought they were all together, sorry.
This is building 2. Scroll out, Brian.
Yeah.
Go up. Sorry.
Which building is it?
I think this is this building 2.
Yeah, we submitted
2600.
2 different ones.
Okay, sorry, scroll down. So variance 1 is for an additional wall sign, variance 2 is for an additional wall sign.
Sure.
And then variance 3 is for the height of the additional wall sign to be 72 inches high. The
Okay.
height of the letters or
Okay.
the logo, which is here.
Okay. And those are the ones that are gonna be on the sides
On
of the
the
porte
porch.
cochere? Okay, got it.
And so just to confirm, we're looking at all signs right now, even though this says signs 4, 5, and 6. These are all the signs on this building.
Correct. There's two, so the way you made me submit it was for two different addresses.
Yes.
So there's 6 signs total for both addresses.
Okay.
But we're only seeing one side, so the other one on.
That's a different item.
Yeah,
It would be a
different
different
item,
item,
right.
so, but for this building, there's only 3, even though it says
Correct.
4, 5, and 6.
Correct.
These are the
Three
only.
variants.
Right,
Yes.
so
But
these
three
are the,
signs as well.
right, so these are the
Okay.
signs that are on this building.
That's right.
One that says the kinds of cars and the 2 that are gonna be on either side of the porte cochere.
That's
Right, and these are actually smaller than ones we already have.
Okay, so these are smaller than the existing ones
Correct.
that are there
Yeah,
today.
'cause I think, well, sketch here.
Well, here's what, this is up here in the top,
Yeah, they-
Right, yeah,
right,
yeah,
is
yeah.
what's
yeah.
there
There now,
currently.
got it, okay, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I will make a motion to
Oh, and I think probably also, well, hold on just one second, hold that thought, you have a question?
Is this already set for a public hearing?
No, that's what I was about to say, I think we also need to set it for a public hearing, which, Mike, how far out would that need to be?
May 20th.
May 20th, okay, so
So
that
my
would.
motion would be to send out without recommendation pending public hearing to set that public hearing for May 20th.
Okay.
Second.
Motion for Ms. Andrus and second for Mr. Sims. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3-0. So, that item will be in a public hearing set for May 20th at 6 p.m. And in, council chambers next door. We have all the examples, so we're good with that.
Okay.
And Mr. Pugh will communicate with you before that meeting to make sure that you get back. But, so thank you.
Do I need to
Appreciate
answer
it.
anything on the other one?
Yeah, we're gonna,
Oh, okay.
hear the next one.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
Thank
Okay, so then also, request for consideration of sign variance at 2630 18th Street South, Man's Automotive Service, Kenny Krackenberger, Wyatt Pugh. All right, so this is the next
Yeah,
building.
so the top one is what is existing.
Sure.
And this one is what is,
Proposed.
proposed. And so again, only one sign per storefront. Wyatt considered that this was one storefront, and so you've got 2 additional signs on the storefront.
Okay. Oh, cause one is on the side. Is that the side of the building?
One is on the side of a building, but he considered
It's
18th
a
Street to be the front of the building.
Okay, gotcha, okay. So it's really the same number of variances requested before, or is it
And
not?
it's the same, scroll down a little bit, I think the second one is for the height also.
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah.
okay, so it's the same exact thing, it's just it's higher than what is allowed. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So it would literally be the same issue.
Okay, I will make that motion then for, the 2630 18th Street South location as
Okay.
well.
And that would be to set the public hearing for the 20th?
May 20th and send out without recommendation.
Okay, all right, motion for Ms. Andrews,
Second.
second from, Mr. Sims, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
3-0, okay, now, both of those set for the 20th,
Got
May
it.
the 20th. All right,
Kenny, right?
thank you very much.
Gotcha. Thanks, man.
So, thank you. Have a blessed day.
Uh-huh, you too. Okay, now, 230424, request to set a public hearing for consideration of a sign variance at 740 Shades Creek Parkway, Morgan Stanley, and that's from David Silverstein Jr. Hi, welcome
Hello.
back.
Good to see y'all again.
Glad you're here.
Yeah, absolutely, all right, tell us what we're looking at.
So I've been before y'all on a number of different issues. Y'all previously approved some signage variances for the project when it was 2 separate tenants. We now are excited to announce publicly Morgan Stanley will be moving from the Colonnade. There you go.
Big news, guys. Big news.
Okay.
We will be establishing the highest base rent for the submarket area. So hopefully that helps everybody else in getting higher rents. But Morgan Stanley has requested building signage. It's obviously a very prominent location. Being that there's one tenant, you're allowed one sign, and the code provides that it has to be on the ground floor. So this would be top of building signage on Shades Creek Parkway. And then they'd also would like signage on the other side of the building, which would be a second wall sign, but it faces the other side. It doesn't really face any street.
Can you see it from 280?
No.
No? Yes.
This is like, so if you go up Lucky Drive and you turn into our site development.
Hang
Right.
on, go back to the first slide.
Yeah.
I showed it on the first slide. So here they are.
Yeah.
There's a
right,
north
yeah.
and south
Yep.
Right, I just couldn't figure out where the.
exterior
sign.
building signage.
Okay, gotcha. And will there also, because I remember we approved for the original request, we approved a sign down at the
Yeah,
street.
so, you did approve, a monument sign.
Right.
And they are requesting that monument sign.
Okay.
And then, just for purposes of clarity, it's a directional signage that the church has requested. Was some confusion about whether or not counts as a monument sign or a directional sign
Mhm.
that would go, within that existing median on Lucky Drive. South State Bank has a sign there.
Right, yeah.
But the church has asked that we put a directional sign to Shades Valley Evangelical Lutheran Church. That was approved in the previous, when we came.
That was
It
approved?
was.
Okay, so that was a previously approved. So, but I mean, since we're starting from scratch, do we have to approve that?
I
as
don't,
well?
Well,
it's
it's
not
lapsed.
included on this.
Oh, this is not included in this request? Okay. Is that something that you wanted included in this
No,
request?
it's already been approved, so we.
Well,
just-
but because it's been over 180 days.
I was about to say, I'm sure it's not
we
still
have to
approved.
get anything, but
That's
why?
that's a
It's been like 2
BZA
years.
requirement. I'm not sure that that's a council requirement. when they
That's not
approve
a
sign
council
variance.
requirement for
What's
the
that?
180 days. If it's been approved by the council, then it should stand, whatever was approved.
Okay, well then I'm just here to ask for Morgan Stanley to
Okay.
have.
Right, and that's all that's being heard tonight.
Okay.
Are
That's-
these two variants.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, well,
And so
Great.
it's Morgan Stanley on the top of the front,
Correct.
Morgan Stanley on the top of the back,
and then.
and then the monument sign on the
correct,
property
and-
out front.
And the location shown there.
Okay, all right. And I assume, just based on the trees that are there, could you even see the bottom of the building?
No, so it's,
Trees won't be there.
yeah,
They'll
the
be
trees
gone.
won't be
They're all,
there.
everything, okay. I didn't know if all of them were gonna be gone, or if there'd still be
No,
landscaping that
there-
would.
we
There will
have,
be
there's a
landscape.
landscape plan,
Plan,
it's
right.
very nice, and,
Yeah. I just thought that might still block whatever, if
no,
something
so
was
if you
down.
go to one of the other pages, you can see really the elevations of the signs on the building. So that's the front,
Right.
or the visitor parking area. Then if you keep going, that's the front facing Shades Creek Parkway.
Okay, and it will be illuminated so that it'll be lit at night,
Yes.
okay.
Is that granite, is that granite in that building?
No comment. If they wanna put granite in the building, they're more than welcome to.
Okay, and then that would be the back side?
That is front
Oh, that's
facing
the front
Shades
side.
Creek Parkway.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
And then that's the visitor parking area at the backside.
The
It's
backside.
not visible unless you're pulling
Just
into.
pulling into the parking spot, that just helps you to know that you're in the right
Correct.
place.
Correct.
Okay, and then the monument sign, you'll have a schematic of that as well?
It should be
We're not
included.
the monument sign's not a thing.
Well,
Oh, we're
no,
not
this-
talking about that yet.
Right.
The
Okay.
monument sign, that's within the, size requirements.
Okay.
I don't know why that human's there.
Scale.
Yeah, okay, all right, so we're not talking about the monument sign, we're just talking about the two.
That was not on the variance list that Wyatt had.
Okay, all right, got it. Well, it sounds like maybe it's not.
Well, if
the
it was,
new
if it was
variance.
approved.
Well, yeah, and
yeah.
I think monument signs are allowed over there.
Well,
and-
the issue with this monument sign is Lucky Drive is technically part of this premises, and you're only allowed one monument sign.
Got it,
per-
okay, but yeah, if it was previously approved, I guess we're fine. Okay, so we're just talking about the two up on the top signs, front and back. All right,
Alright, well, I will make a motion to send out that recommendation and set the public hearing for May the 20th.
okay, motion from Ms. Andrews.
Second.
I was about to say, anyone? Second from Mr. Sims, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3-0. We will send that out, so that'll be set for public hearing on May 20th, 6 o'clock next door.
Yep.
And I'm sure Mr. Pugh will communicate with you at some
David,
point.
right?
Yes.
David, okay, gotcha.
Thank you for coming. All right, and with that, we are,
Skip my-
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, I'm getting ready to skip your item because we're carrying it over. 180424, request to transfer all future sign requests to be handled by the Board of Zoning and Adjustments. Mr. Smith spoke to Counselor Alamon today, and Mr. Alamon called me and asked if we could carry this over so that you have some time to do some additional background work, and we will take that discussion up at some later date. That's
Well,
what
you
he
gotta
told me.
amend the zoning ordinance. Remember, we talked about that when we adopted the
Right.
zoning ordinance, that the
Yes.
sign ordinance wasn't included.
Yeah, I just wanna get the ball rolling, and I have some comments.
Well,
About it.
Mr. Smith has asked that we hold off
I
on it.
understand. I'm just saying, we need to start the process, in
Well, and
my
by the way,
opinion.
just let me say, the reason that Mr. Alamon's name was added to the item is because he initiated that item the first before you did. And so we had already discussed it and talked about it, as Mike mentioned, and we left it where it was. And so I added his name back on it, and
And-
Carlos called me today to
And as he
say.
brings up every single committee meeting.
Yes,
that there's
as he
a
makes
sign
it very
variance
clear.
request.
But I want to do what you think is the best idea, and from what when I spoke to Mr. Alamon today, his request was that we carry this over so that you have some time to do more work on your end before we start this discussion. That's what he told
So
me?
I didn't know anything about this item until I saw it on this agenda.
Yes.
And then
Neither did I, Cal, just
and
in
then
case
I
you're
had a-
wondering.
I feel like.
The committee
we should
chair was not
probably all
included.
need to get together and figure out what needs to change. I mean, yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, obviously, we only have 3 members of the committee here, And I feel like we need more people, and Mr. Alman asked that he wanted to be part of that conversation, because he does want this to happen. I mean, he was very clear, he wants this to happen desperately.
I mean, may I comment on it?
Yes, but here's the thing.
Madam Chair,
Every time, well,
under-
okay, let me just say this, Walter. Every time we ask for items to be added to the agendas for committees, we include the committee chair on that request, which I was not included at all.
I went through the council president. It's the council president who approves the agenda and copies the committee chair.
But I was not copied.
That is, well, I apologize, and that's a president issue, not a requester issue.
Okay, well, I mean, when
So-
I request an issue, I always
I
send it to
understand
Ian,
what
Alex,
you
and
do.
the
I'm just telling
committee
you
chair.
what I did.
Okay.
And I want to comment on this item because tonight is a great example of us being very tactical and looking at signs, and that you go back to exactly like what we did with fences. It was all tactical. There's no strategic part of it at all. And BZA took that over, and we need to do the same thing with signs. We're wasting a ton of time doing signs when the BZA is perfectly capable of doing it. That's why I put it on there, and I sent it to the council president. I copied the mayor, I believe. And so that's my point. And the point of our meeting that I've requested, and it's also with Councilor Alaman, is that think about all the things we want to accomplish before the end of our term. I don't want that to be a tactical meeting talking about sidewalks. I want it to be a strategic meeting where we look at big projects that we want to accomplish. So I feel strongly about this, obviously, that we are bogged down with these type of requests. And because of that, we don't have time to talk about strategic items. So that's the reason I put it on there. So however we can do it logistically, I think it's going to save future councils a ton of time.
And listen,
And
I
I
don't
might be the
disagree with
only
you.
one that agrees this,
No,
that thinks this way.
I don't think you are the only one who
But I
agrees
want to
with
at
that.
least figure out the logistics of it and vote on it and move on down the road.
Yeah, no.
The logistics is what we've talked about repeatedly. It has to be a part of the zoning ordinance to be by the BZA.
Right, and it's not.
2 months ago, when we adopted the zoning ordinance, I've raised that issue. It's not, wasn't the sign ordinance supposed to be in the zoning ordinance, and I was told no. And it wasn't
So
put
this
in the
is not,
zoning
yeah,
ordinance.
so.
I understand.
We're gonna have to amend the zoning ordinance, which will take time, we'll have to have a public hearing, and I
You
don't.
gotta
Agree.
start with the planning commission.
Right, well, yeah, exactly, yeah, we'll have to go
It
to the
sounds
planning
like we need
commission.
to rewrite the sign ordinance based on the number of variances that the council is
Well,
issuing.
what you need to do is enforce what you got. That's what I said.
That's-
5 years ago, we paid $25,000 to get a sign ordinance, but we vary it every time.
Every time.
Yeah, and listen, Walter, I don't disagree with you or Mr. Alaman that this is something that we need
You
to
have no sign
discuss.
ordinance.
But when we amended it last time, I was told that there were people that still wanted to handle
I
all
did.
the signs.
Yeah, I
And
did.
we,
That was me.
and so I
Yes.
respectfully said, okay, well then let's deal with it later. But we are at later, and if
Yeah.
we have to amend it, we need to amend it.
Right, I agree with that.
That's just where I stand on it.
Yeah,
So
no, listen,
I
I
know
don't
what
disagree.
needs to happen,
I don't
so-
disagree with you, I'm just saying, because, I mean, Carlos made a point of calling me today after having talked to Kale, and he just said, first of all, he knew he probably wasn't gonna make it to the meeting, and he was like, I really do wanna be part of this conversation, since he was the original one who brought up the issue to begin with. And comments every single time we have a sign variance
Yeah, I
request.
mean, his view's the same as mine.
Right, so I think I would like him to be here, to be able to
Or the BZA sign.
be part of the communication and the conversation. And then I think that ultimately, like Mike said, we're gonna have to send it back to the planning commission. And listen, again, I mean, cause I don't think, part of our argument was we were worried that by sending it to the BZA, there might be more variances granted. I mean, we're granting
this
every
point,
variance
I don't
anyway.
know.
Right,
Exactly.
right, I mean,
That's a
we're
good
granting
one.
them all anyway, so we're, it doesn't really, that's not a point of contention. But I think we have to make sure that we're doing it the right way, and I do wanna include Mr. Alaman in the conversation, so it's, if from my purview as the chair of the committee, I would like to carry this over for our next meeting.
Well,
and
I
think
wanna
we-
carry it over too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
comment
it's
on it.
here, but yeah, I mean, we'll carry it over, and then when we're here, when more people are here, we'll have this conversation in full, and we'll figure out the steps that we need to take in order to get it where it needs to go.
And Counselor Smith, since
Yeah.
we're already talking about it,
Sure.
some, then, I mean, maybe those steps, I mean, we have some good models of recent revisions where we have counselors and planning commission members and some, you know, related industry people involved in a committee to workshop, you know, ordinance changes.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can, you know, follow that process and, you know, think about that as we head into the next committee meeting and have some suggestions of like who to pull together to get started on this. That would
Yeah,
be-
I mean, and we did, like, I mean, you know, we used placemakers and,
A lot of money.
it spent a lot of money to get that, sign ordinance done. But we just haven't adhered to it almost in any way. We're just sort of cowboying it out there. So again, I don't disagree with the idea of changing, we just need to go about it the right way.
And when I say industry, I mean, I just clarification too, I mean, like, maybe a
Designers
chamber
and some-
representative or
Yeah,
something, to
right.
where we can think through business needs locally as well as what we need to do to be, you know, not necessarily national consultants or anything like that.
Right, but somebody on a more local level. And I will say, you know, I think none of us, I mean, I go places a lot of times and I see signs and I'm like, oh, thank God we don't have this kind of sign, you know, in Homewood. But I think there's also gotta be some, you know, practical thinking about what we allow people to do, cause some things are just no-brainers and it shouldn't require a variance to get that done. All right, well, with that, we will carry over and we will discuss at our next meeting, Mr. Jones. We will discuss.